It's midnight. You're winding down for the night, maybe finishing a cup of tea, maybe just staring at your phone in that half-asleep daze. The house is quiet, and then, from the kitchen counter, you hear it. That slow, deliberate tap. A pause. Another tap. You already know what's happening before you even lift your head. Your cat has found your favorite mug, the one with the handle, and she is looking you dead in the eyes as she inches it, millimeter by millimeter, toward the edge of the counter. You whisper, "Don't you dare!" She holds eye contact, and then, crack, it hits the tile floor. She doesn't even flinch. She just steps over the wreckage and walks away like she filed the paperwork weeks ago. If you've lived this moment, you already know this channel is for you, so hit that like button and subscribe. Now, most people, when they watch their cat deliberately shove a pen off the desk or topple a glass of water onto their laptop keyboard, land on one of a few tired conclusions. She's just bored. He's being spiteful. She does it for attention. He wants food, and this is his way of telling me. These explanations feel satisfying because they're simple. They cast the cat as either a mischievous little gremlin or a manipulative genius. And honestly, both of those are more comforting than the truth, because the truth is far stranger and far more intimate. But behavioral neuroscience tells a completely different story. Researchers at the University of Lincoln's Animal Behavior Cognition Unit have studied repetitive object interaction behaviors in domestic cats extensively. What they found dismantled the spite narrative entirely. When cats engage in deliberate sequential object displacement, the scientific term for what your cat just did to your coffee mug, their brains are not in a state of aggression or social manipulation. They're in a state of active sensory calibration. The cat's paw is quite literally running a diagnostic. The texture of the object, its resistance, its acoustic profile when it tips. All of this data floods the somatosensory cortex in real time. More importantly, cortisol measurements taken during these episodes consistently show decreased stress markers. Your cat is not acting out. Your cat is self-regulating. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. This behavior doesn't emerge in a vacuum. It is the product of approximately 10,000 years of evolutionary engineering. The ancestor of your modern domestic cat, Felis sylvestris libica, a small, solitary wildcat native to the arid landscapes of the Middle East, did not have the luxury of stillness. Survival depended on an almost obsessive need to test environments constantly, to probe ledges, to nudge objects and listen, to determine what was alive, what was dead, and what was a threat hiding in plain sight. When the agricultural revolution created grain stores, and grain stores created rodent populations, these cats moved closer to human settlements, not because they were tamed, but because the environment made sense to them. The stimulation was there, the prey was there, and slowly, over millennia, they stayed. What didn't change was the neural architecture driving that probing, testing, tactile curiosity. It was selected for. It survived. It lives now in your cat's paws as she taps your water glass at midnight, not out of spite, but out of a nervous system that is ancient, precise, and wired to interact with the world through contact. Every tap is an echo of a wildcat standing at the edge of a dark field, reading the world through her paws before the world could read her. But there's a layer to this that almost no one talks about, and it's the one that will genuinely reframe everything. When your cat knocks something over and looks at you, that look is not triumph. It is not indifference. Ethologists studying interspecies co-regulation have documented something remarkable. Cats closely monitor the autonomic nervous system responses of their primary attachment figures, your breathing pattern, your muscle tension, the subtle shift in your posture when you're stressed versus when you're calm. A 2021 study published in Animal Cognition found that cats exposed to stressed owners showed elevated HRV disruption, heart rate variability changes consistent with sympathetic nervous system activation, even before any direct interaction occurred. They were reading the room. More than that, they were being changed by it. So when your cat begins her slow, methodical counter-clearing routine, she may actually be initiating a co-regulation event. The crash of an object hitting the floor resets your nervous system. Suddenly, you're alert, present, focused on her. Your scattered, anxious mind has a single point of attention, and her nervous system, which has been quietly syncing with your elevated stress state all evening, gets the regulated, attentive version of you in return. Two nervous systems, two different species, recalibrating each other through the ritual destruction of a small ceramic object. This brings us to the part that's going to be uncomfortable for some of you. If you've been struggling with this behavior, you may have tried the popular solutions: fell-away diffusers to flood the room with synthetic calming pheromones, a new set of interactive puzzle feeders, maybe even adopting a second cat so she'd have company. And if those things didn't work, or only worked briefly, you're not alone, and it's not your fault. These interventions operate on the assumption that the cat is responding to objects in her environment, but the behavioral neuroscience is clear. She is responding to you, specifically to the rhythms and disruptions of your nervous system, your daily routine, your presence and absence. A diffuser cannot replicate the acoustic signature of your exhale when you finally sit down after a long day. A puzzle feeder cannot substitute for the predictable warmth of your body moving through the apartment at the same time each morning. A second cat introduces a new nervous system into the equation. Interesting data, but not the data she was looking for. The real variable was never the environment. It was always you. And once you truly understand that, something shifts. You stop seeing the knocked-over pen as a provocation and start seeing it as a question. You stop reacting and start listening. Because the behavior was never random, it was calibrated. Every object she chose, every moment she chose it, was selected with a precision her ancestors spent 10,000 years perfecting, aimed not at your belongings, but at you. So the next time your cat locks eyes with you and sends your favorite pen sailing off the desk, pause before you react. Because what she is doing, in her ancient and impeccably precise way, is telling you something that has no words in any language. I know your nervous system. I am in it with you, and I am asking you to come back to the present. That is not misbehavior. That is an interspecies conversation happening at a frequency most of us never learn to hear. If this reframed how you see your cat, even a little, subscribe to this channel and leave a comment below. Here's my question for you. What object does your cat target most often, and does it tend to happen at a specific time of day or when you're in a particular mood? I read every single response, and the patterns you share genuinely inform the research directions we explore together here. Next week, we're diving into something equally misunderstood: why cats bring you dead animals, or half-dead ones, and what the neuroscience of that offering reveals about how they categorize you in their social world. It is not what you think. And to everyone who found this channel and chose to spend time here, whether this is the first video you've watched or you've been here from the very beginning, thank you, genuinely and completely. The fact that you cared this much about understanding your cat rather than just tolerating them means everything. This channel exists because of that curiosity.